Hello there, you're watching Left, Right and Centre on NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. The Centre has for the first time officially opposed recognising same-sex marriages. In its affidavit to the Supreme Court, the Centre defines the family as one comprising a biological man as father, a biological woman as mother and the children born out of such a union as a family. The Centre believes that marriage between same-sex partners is against Indian tradition. In the words of the Centre, it's not compatible with quote-unquote Indian family unit. The Centre also says decriminalizing same-sex relationships or homosexuality is not the same as going a step further and recognizing such unions. The petitioners want legal recognition for their marriage on several counts, starting with social dignity for their relationship like any other conventional marriage or relationship, and going all the way up to something as basic and critical at the same time like making medical decisions for each other, signing hospital forms, adopting a child or simply buying joint property. Now, the Centre's affidavit raises many questions. Who decides what a family looks like or should look like? Is this not discriminatory to deny a certain section rights that others have by way of legally recognized marriage? Is this a social issue opening up the need for changes in many other laws, and therefore it falls in the ambit of Parliament and not the ambit of judiciary per se? On Left, Right, Centre tonight, we will raise all these questions. Joining me now on the show tonight, Mahesh Verma, leader of the BJP, Rahul Ishwar, author and activist, Harish Iyer, equal rights activist, Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate of the Supreme Court, will be joining us shortly, and we'll also be joined by Dr. Surabhi Mitra. She's a psychiatrist who celebrated a same-sex relationship. She had an engagement with her partner, pics of which had gone viral, and it was celebrated by both families. Mahesh Verma, I want to first come to you, sir. The affidavit by the Centre stresses on the fact that family can be perceived only as a man, a woman, both biologically, and children through such unions. Wouldn't you say this definition is extremely narrow and can be challenged on several counts? What about families with adopted children? What about single parents? What about single parents with surrogate children? Who decides, sir, what a family should look like?
देखिए, केंद्र सरकार की आज जो हलफनामा है, जो एफिडेविट है जी, वो सिर्फ आज के परिवेश में नहीं है। सिर्फ आज के नजरिए से इसको नहीं देखना चाहिए कि आज कोई याचिका सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आई है और उसके ऊपर जो है केंद्र सरकार ने अपने हलफनामा पेश किया है। मार्च 2021 में हाई कोर्ट में यही बात कही गई जो अब कही जा रही है। संसद में 2015 में जब ये बिल आया, तब भी केंद्र सरकार का यही इसमें जितनी ऑल पार्टीज थी, उन सारे नेताओं की जो एक सुझाव थे, जो इसको लेकर एक चिंता थी, जो इसका एक कंसर्न था, वो यही था कि कहीं कल्चरल अटैक तो नहीं है ये। क्योंकि ये जो सोच है, ये समझ है, वो हमारी जो अनादि और अनंत काल से जो हमारी एक हिंदुस्तान की एक सामाजिक धरोहर है या विरासत या सांस्कृतिक जो हमारी एक ताना बाना है, उसमें इसको आप किसी भी तरह से लेकर आप जाइएगा तो आज वो कहीं ना कहीं उसको लेकर एक आप ये कहिए कि विद्रोह है, एक उसको लेकर एक तनाव बढ़ेगा, उसको लेकर उस सोच को समर्थन कहीं नहीं मिलेगा जिस सोच के साथ कुछ लोग इसको लेकर आगे आना चाहते हैं।
लेकिन
तो सवाल ये है,
महेश वर्मा जी, एक मिनट आपको रोकना चाहूंगी।
ये जो चीज जो पश्चिम से लाकर
महेश वर्मा जी
हमारे देशों पे लादा जा रहा है,
महेश वर्मा जी, अगर इस देश ने होमोसेक्सुअलिटी को डीक्रिमिनलाइज कर दिया है तो एक स्टेप आगे जाने में क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है?
बिल्कुल, आपने बड़े सही और सटीक सवाल उठाए। सवाल ये है कि ये जब आप करने जाइएगा, इसको जब कानूनी अमली जामा जब आप पहनाइएगा, तो 20 ऐसे कानून हैं जिसको आपको एबोलिश करने पड़ेंगे, जिसको आपको खत्म करने पड़ेंगे। आप कैसे डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस को आप कैसे जस्टिफाई करिएगा? इस तरह से कम 10 ऐसे प्रोविजन हैं जिनको आपको एबोलिश करना होगा। मात्र 0.1%
तो सर पार्लियामेंट तो बैठती है ना, हमारे पास लॉ मेकर्स हैं
जिनको जो नहीं जिनको जेंडर इक्वलिटी के नाम पर इस देश में एक प्रोटेक्शन मिला हुआ है, जो एक महिला है, जिनको हम कहीं एक देवी की शक्ति मानते हैं, जिनके जरिए हम इस सृष्टि की संरचना को समझते हैं, जो हमारे मतलब रग रग में चीजों को ऐसे बसाया गया, हमारे खून में है वो, उस चीज को ये कहा जा रहा है कि नहीं, इस नजरिए को बदल दो।
सर बहुत महिलाएं तो ये कहती हैं कि हमें देवी ना मानो, हमें बस इंसान मान लो। हरीश अय्यर, आई वांट टू गो टू यू।
हम
सर आपके पास आऊंगी, एक मिनट।
हम तो चाहते हैं कि इस देश में यही परंपरा रहे जी, कि अगर आप कोई बहन है तो उसको बहन मानी जाए, कोई माँ है तो उसको माँ मानी जाए, कोई बेटी है तो बेटी मानी जाए। लेकिन जो जेंडर की एक जैविक लिंग की जो एक महत्व है, उसको समझना पड़ेगा। उसको समझे बिना इस देश में उस ताने बाने पे आक्रमण करना, अटैक करना और
आपके पास वापस
छिन्न भिन्न करना, ये ठीक नहीं है।
आपके पास वापस आऊंगी। हरीश अय्यर, आई वांट टू कम टू यू नाउ. First of all, you disagreed with the point that he was making. I saw you nodding your head quite vehemently with regards to change of several other laws. Now, I mean, there is a point there, but that's why we have a parliament. That's why we have lawmakers. As the society evolves or as times go by, let's look at that as a challenge perhaps, that other laws require a change.
इतना आसान नहीं है।
सर उनको जवाब देने दीजिए। हरीश अय्यर, do you think? Yes, please go ahead.
First of all, yes, the parliament exists over there, but the truth is that the reason why Section 377 was brought to the Supreme Court is because Parliament, I'm not referring to one government, all governments put together failed in even having a decent debate in the Parliament. All governments, I'm not referring to one political party or one this thing, everyone failed to have a debate in the Parliament, and that's precisely why it came to the Supreme Court, number one. Secondly, हम जब समाज के बारे में बात करते हैं, when we are speaking about society at large, society is not static somewhere. There was once when sati was a part of our culture, right? And people were upholding that. But society is something that changes. Dowry was something that was a commonplace. Society is something that changes, it evolves itself, it gets better. And now when same-sex partners, now अभी हम जब families के बारे में बात करते हैं, family is man, woman and child. Then what is my family? Are you trying to tell me that I have no family because I'm LGBT, that because I'm from the LGBTQ community? What is my family? I have a family. I have my mother who is accepting of me. I have my colleagues who love me. I have my friends who love me. They don't have a problem with anything else. And yes, this will lead to other rights. As Mr. Mahesh says, this will lead to other rights. And what is the problem in giving other rights also? This will not abolish other rights. It will strengthen other rights. Probably previously when you spoke about domestic violence, you spoke about a man being the perpetrator. Probably over here you look at women also as the perpetrator in domestic violence. It's expanding your mind and expanding your horizons.
Okay.
All that needs to be done is expand the whole thing to the LGBTQ person as well.
And Rahul Ishwar, when one says that homosexuality has been decriminalized in the country, what are we saying? That we won't put people behind bars for sexual preferences, but the society will not recognize your relationship or give it dignity as it does to a conventional marriage. Is that not outrightly discriminatory, Rahul Ishwar?
2 or 3 submissions. One, nobody agrees with any kind of homophobia. Every religion may have a different take regarding homosexuality, but the general consensus is that we all respectfully disagree with the entire paradigm of homosexuality. There are even scientific communities and scientific debates regarding the same. For example, scientists like Simon Levy has elaborated on this. The question is whether there is a gay gene, and such questions are there. But general principles are 3. 1, absolutely no to homophobia. Second, no kind of discrimination to any kind of homosexual community and couples. Third, we should have an informed, enlightened, respectful debate on this point. We all know Justice Chandrachud, who is a very eminent judge, who is more on the liberal spectrum. So, we can imagine the nature of the verdict in that sense in a very positive way. It will be a victory for my good friends like Harish Iyer, who have been fighting this case. Having said that, there is a huge majority of people who are still having apprehensions, inhibitions regarding the entire thing. There is a very strong opinion on the other spectrum. There are suspicions, or there are apprehensions. See, one more religious aspect is the Hindu community has been a bit more quote-unquote liberal on this, but the Semitic religions, they even have beliefs like Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of such aspects. So there is a deep-rooted engagement that is needed. We need more sensitization, more discussions, more engagements, mutually respectful dialogues, so that we can get to a consensus. Otherwise, going for marriage or giving the sacrosanctity of marriage to homosexuality is still a very debatable point.
All right. Dr. Surbhi Mitra is with us now. Dr. Mitra, before you could join us on this discussion, Mahesh Verma, representative of the BJP, said that this is almost like an attack on our culture. Would you disagree with him naturally? Because, you are in a relationship which is with another woman. You had a commitment ring ceremony celebrated by your and Dr. Paromita Mukherjee's family. Do you and Dr. Paromita perceive yourself as family? What would you say today to Mahesh Verma?
Yeah, actually saying this, that it is against the Indian culture. First of all, we are deviating from many points here. Because if we talk about the real Indian culture, it is quite liberal. If you have heard Devdatta Patnaik and his work regarding mythology, Vedas and everything, he says that they have been very liberal always. They have always supported love. They have not mentioned anywhere that it has to be a biological female or a biological male in a relationship. That is there. So I don't think the Indian culture is the culprit here. Also, Section 377 was brought by the Britishers. It was not an Indian, you can say, section in the Indian constitution per se. It was just taken directly from the British constitution because of 200 almost years of the British Raj that we had here. So that was the major problem. We did not decriminalize Section 377 and become the original India as we could have. We are today the fabricated India of how the Britishers left it with Section 377. And even after the section was decriminalized, people still debate about this, that it's unnatural, it's immoral, it's abnormal. I don't understand it. The IPS, that is the Indian Psychiatric Society, the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, and so many other health organizations and health researchers have told that homosexuality or being a trans person is absolutely natural and normal. It is biological, it is neurological, it is physiological. So I don't see the point in this.
All right.
Another thing,
okay. I just want to go across to Sanjay Hegde here. Sanjay Hegde, Dr. Paromita there, Dr. Surbhi, mentioned 377. Now, wasn't seeking recognition of same-sex marriage the logical next step if homosexuality has been decriminalized?
Well, in one way, yes. In one way, no. These are two separate steps, in my opinion. One is that you decriminalize some behavior. The state had no business criminalizing consensual sexual acts between two adults, irrespective of gender. So the second part is, can you restrict marriage only to two individuals of opposite genders? Here's a question of what is called marriage equality. Now, is it compulsory that marriage is only about procreation? Or is it about so many other things, about companionship, about partnership, about love, respect, and so many, and also other legal consequences like a share in the legacy or the ability to adopt together or make medical decisions for each other in a time of crisis. These are all the concomitants that go with a spousal relationship. Now, why should a spousal relationship be restricted only to people of opposite genders? Is it better for society that that you have unhappy marriages between people of opposite genders who could otherwise be happy in marriages with their own gender? What is the social choice to make? And what is the correct and ethical choice to make in this century? That is the real question. And you should not necessarily ask people like me who's above 50. What you should ask is, where does young India want this country to go?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think Dr. Surbhi is in some sense representing a younger India for us today. Rahul Ishwar, the government has cited Indian traditional family unit in the affidavit, by which they mean a man, a woman and children born out of them. World over, 22 countries have legalized same-sex marriage nationally through legislation. Would you say these countries don't respect traditions? I mean, after all, everybody conventionally perceived a family only as a man, woman and children born out of them. These countries too conventionally thought of family in that sense. But today they have been able to break out of that.
No, let us be honest about this. Marriage, as for a biological man and woman, has been the norm for centuries. If you check the entire history of Homo sapiens, or especially modern civilization, from the back 5,000 years, this has been the norm. Or there may be polygamy and the commune living, one off here and there. But the majority has been heterogeneous couples, monogamy. This has been the norm. So, there has been a sanctity accorded to it because of the practice that has been happening over centuries. We cannot overlook such a thing. There are many so-called people of the modern hue which says they are okay with homosexuality, but if their children decide to marry a homosexual couple, they will say, we are against it.
That's precisely the point, Rahul Ishwar. That's precisely the point here. The concern is that it has no legal sanction in the sense of a marriage, and perhaps that is why families are scared. महेश वर्मा जी, आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहूंगी इसी मुद्दे पे. कन्वेंशनली फैमिली को वर्ल्ड ओवर इसी तरह देखा गया है, एक महिला, एक पुरुष और उनके बच्चे, लेकिन 22 कंट्रीज ने आगे स्टेप उठाया है. भारत ने इतने सारे प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप्स लिए हैं. अभी कुछ वक्त में हमने बहुत सारे ऐसे केसेस देखे हैं जो कि वेस्ट से कंपेयर करें तो इंडिया ने बहुत सारे प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप्स लिए हैं. फिर हम इसमें क्यों नहीं ले पा रहे हैं प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप?
आपकी बात सही है कि पश्चिमी देशों में बहुत कुछ ऐसा होता है. वहाँ सट्टेबाजी लीगल है, वहाँ वेश्यावृत्ति लीगल है, वहाँ ओपन मार्केट में आप कोई आर्म्स खरीदने जाएं तो उसके ऊपर कोई प्रतिबंध नहीं है. कई जगह ड्रग्स के ऊपर छूट है. कई ऐसे कंट्रीज में तो इसको लेकर फांसी की सजा है जिसकी हम आज चर्चा कर रहे हैं. कई ऐसे देश हैं जहाँ पे बिल्कुल 72 ऐसी कंट्रीज हैं जहाँ पे ये बिल्कुल प्रतिबंधित है. लेकिन सवाल ये है कि उसको हम देख के और उसको हम कहीं सोच के, इसीलिए मैंने कहा कि ये हमारे ऊपर एक तरह से सांस्कृतिक अतिक्रमण है. इस सोच को अगर मुझे आप बता दीजिए कि 2015 में जो संसद एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया, 2013 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया, हाई कोर्ट ने एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया, बाद के दिनों में जब 2018 के आसपास जो है वो कहीं जाके सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इसको अलाउ किया कि भाई ठीक है, इसको हम आपराधिक श्रेणी में नहीं रखेंगे. उसके बाद जो है एक पूरी जो है इसके ऊपर जो है ग्रिलिंग शुरू की गई ताकि देश में जो है एक नई तरह की जो है एक सोच पनपे. और इसका एक, जैसे अभी हमारे एक पैनलिस्ट ने जो कहा कि साइंटिफिकली ये जो है इनकरेक्ट है, गलत है. इसको इस तरह की प्रैक्टिस को बढ़ावा देना किसी भी समाज में, ये मतलब आप अपने आजादी के
पैनलिस्ट जो कि यहाँ पे डॉक्टर हैं, उन्होंने बोला कि ऐसा कोई साइंटिफिक प्रूफ को दरकिनार कर दिया गया है. ये नहीं है कि ये अननेचुरल है.
मैं कह रहा हूँ जहाँ पे लोगों ने ऐसा किया है वहां की आप स्टडी, एक रिपोर्ट उठाइए, अपने कहीं दर्शकों को उसके बारे में भी बताइए कि ये कितना समाज के हित में है. और यही होता तो देश का पार्लियामेंट 2015 में इसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया होता. राज्यसभा से पास होने के बाद लोकसभा में बिल्कुल इसको नकारा गया, इसको मना किया गया. ये जरूर है कि भाई ठीक है, आपकी आजादी है. जैसे अभी हमारी बहन डॉक्टर सुरभि जैन ने कहा कि हमारी एक प्रेम की परंपरा रही है, ये उस प्रेम से कहीं नहीं जुड़ी हुई बात है. ये आप जो बात आज कह रही हैं ये उस तरह का प्रेम नहीं है. एक उन्माद है, एक आकर्षण है, एक जोश है जो कि थोड़े समय के लिए होता है. उसके बाद समाज के बीच में आप किस तरह से पहचाने जाते हैं, आपकी क्या आइडेंटिटी बनती है, आप किस तरह से समाज को का निर्माण करना चाहते हैं. आप चाहते हैं कि पूरे देश में एक ऐसी चीज का हम कहीं निर्माण कर दें.
ठीक है, आपने अपनी बात कह ली सर. हरीश अय्यर और डॉक्टर सुरभि दोनों इस बात से वाकिफ नहीं है. दे डोंट अग्री विद यू. हरीश अय्यर, गो अहेड.
पहले चीज तो ये क्वेश्चन ही नहीं उठना चाहिए कि ये है कि नहीं, क्योंकि ये सारे चीज हम डिबेट कर चुके हैं सेक्शन 377 में. और इंडियन साइकेट्रिक एसोसिएशन, द अमेरिकन साइकेट्रिक एसोसिएशन, इंडियन साइकोलॉजिस्ट एसोसिएशन, द वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हर साइंटिस्ट ने कहा है कि इसकी मान्यता है। और ये जो आप कहते हैं, ये जो गवर्नमेंट के इसमें, सेंटर के इसमें जो आया है, जहां पे हम कहते हैं बायोलॉजिकल मैन एंड बायोलॉजिकल वुमेन, इवन अ ट्रांस वुमन इज अ बायोलॉजिकल वुमन। तो ये बायोलॉजिकल वुमन, दैट लैंग्वेज इटसेल्फ इज इनकरेक्ट। पहले तो उसी चीज का मैं विरोध करना चाहूंगा। दूसरी बात यह है कि हम समाज के बारे में कहते हैं कि हम बदल जाते हैं, हम बदलिए। हमने कोई विरोध नहीं किया, आप सब हमसे अलग हो। हमने कभी हेटेरोसेक्सुअल मैरिज का विरोध नहीं किया, विरोध आप कर रहे हैं। आप बताइए, मैं अगर मेरे बॉयफ्रेंड के साथ शादी कर लेता हूं, तो आप में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? आपको क्या फर्क पड़ेगा बताइए? या फिर मुझे देख के 4 लोग और शादी कर लेंगे, आप बदल जाओगे? आपकी सेक्सुअलिटी बदल जाएगी मेरी सेक्सुअलिटी को देख के? तो क्या बदलाव आएगा? बस ये बदलाव आएगा कि मेरी जो जिंदगी है वो संवर जाएगी, और वो देख के आपको खुशी नहीं मिल रही। So that is the problem that you have.
Okay, Sanjay Hegde, that point about majority view over minority view has been raised by Harish Iyer and also Rahul Ishwar in the diametrically opposite manner. Should the majority necessarily decide what the minority wants to do?
If that were the case, then the majority could very well decide what religion everybody follows. The majority could very well decide that what food everybody should eat, or what clothes they wear. Then where is the question of a constitution? Where is the question of protection of individual fundamental rights? What is happening here is a simple question. Look, relationships between heterosexual people are recognized, sanctified by law, and have legal consequences. Why should not similar commitments and relationships between homosexual people not be given the same status? There is nothing beyond that. And I was quite amused to watch Rahul Ishwar go on into Semitic religions and this and that. This is the first time that the majority is looking towards the Semitic religions. Otherwise, we were told that those Semitic religions had to get out of India. So, who is the society that is deciding for other people in society? What gives them that right? And most importantly, as Harish asked, how does it infringe on anybody else's rights? If nobody is making it compulsory to have a homosexual marriage,
all right,
all that we are saying is that marriages of all kinds, whether heterosexual or homosexual, should be treated equally.
All right, we have the last 3 minutes left, so I want everybody to keep their remarks very brief. Dr. Surabhi, is it disappointing that a majority view, a majority way of life is given the respectability and title of tradition, and minority voices like yourself are considered aberration in a society?
Honestly speaking, I would like to definitely say that we are not a minority. There has been no research on a national level that proves that LGBTQI spectrum people are a minority. If we do have a national research done by the government or probably some good NGOs, we would get to know that there are many more people belonging to the spectrum who are closeted, and just out of fear, they are not able to come out. And if we lead out an anonymous research, I'm sure you will find that we are not a minority. That is the first point. Second point, I would like to say that it is definitely very demeaning that the majority, so-called majority, gets to decide what the minority is supposed to do and what the minority is supposed to behave and what rights the minority should get. Number 3, as I was listening to the sir saying that it is a phase, ye kuch der mein nikal jata hai. So let me clarify scientifically, being a doctor, being a psychiatrist, that it's not a phase. ये किसी heterosexual से शादी करके चला जाएगा या किसी तौर तरीके बदलने से चला जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं है. It is permanent and it is for a lifetime. You are born with it. And history says, history has never denied homosexuality. History has celebrated being transgenders. History has celebrated and revered transgender people earlier.
All right.
Even today it is happening in the present. So it is going to happen in the future generations as well.
Okay.
Even more and more. So why not just accept now? What are we waiting for?
All right. महेश वर्मा जी, आखिरी 1 मिनट बचा आपको देना चाहूंगी, क्योंकि आप सरकार ने जो एफिडेविट दिया उस पर क्लैरिटी दे रहे हैं। एक पॉइंट और जो एफिडेविट में रेज किया गया है कि ये जो हमें समझ में आया कि ये जुडिशरी के एम्बिट में नहीं आता है। शायद ये बात कुछ हद तक सही है, क्योंकि ये लॉज पार्लियामेंट बनाता है। तो क्या पार्लियामेंट से हम उम्मीद रख सकते हैं कि ये मैटर डिस्कस करेगा? बिकॉज हरीश अय्यर सेड कि कभी ये इश्यूज डिस्कस नहीं हुए, तभी जुडिशरी के पास जाना पड़ा।
नहीं, ये तो बात ये गलत कह रहे हैं। 2015 में डीएमके के एक सांसद ने राज्यसभा में इस बिल को ले आए और इसके ऊपर बकायदा चर्चा हुआ। उसके बाद लोकसभा में भी ये जाके पेंडिंग रहा और उसका कई तरह से विरोध हुआ। ये जानकारी के अभाव में ये बात ऐसी कह रहे हैं। एक बात। दूसरी बात कि जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है, जो कि संजय हेगड़े जी ने जो बात कही, कानून के जानकार हैं, ये सूरज है, हम कहीं दिया है, लेकिन सवाल ये है कि जब आप कानून जानते हैं तो इस बात को आपको कहीं न कहीं उसको बताना चाहिए, उसको समझाना चाहिए कि आपके फंडामेंटल राइट्स तो हैं, लेकिन आपके फंडामेंटल राइट्स में आपके मैरिज कहाँ से हैं? कि इस तरह के लोगों का, एलजीबीटी के लोगों का जो विवाह होगा उसके लेकर भी उनका फंडामेंटल राइट्स जो है, ऑल लेडीज जो
हेटेरोसेक्सुअल मैरिज कहाँ है भाई?
वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ, आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ। अगर उसको हम बनाने जाएंगे,
जो आदमी और औरत का जो मैरिज है वो भी तो फंडामेंटल राइट्स में है नहीं।
मैं कह रहा हूं उसी बात को, मैं उसी बात पे आ रहा हूं, उसी बात पे। आप मेरी बात को, आप जो चीज कहना चाह रहे हैं वही बात मैं भी कहना चाह रहा हूं, लेकिन आप उस चीज को नहीं बताना चाह रहे हैं जिस चीज की वजह से इस कानून को बनाने में 10 ऐसे कानून हैं जिनको एबोलिश करने पड़ेंगे। आपकी शादी, मेरी शादी एक विधि विधान से हुई है, जिसका कहीं ना कहीं कोई मान्यता है, जिसका कोई ना कोई मायने है। आज उस चीज को आप कह रहे हैं कि
सबसे पहले भी उठाया गया था महेश वर्मा जी की, तो
उसको आप कह रहे हैं कि उसको मत मानिए, उसको मत सोचिए
कि हम
अपने बच्चों को वो दीजिए जो ये दे रहे हैं,
नहीं कर सकते,
जो ये चाह रहे हैं। ये जो है, आप कह रहे हैं कि ये तो थोड़े से लोग हैं जिनके बारे में आप अगर ऐसा सोचते हैं तो ये फंडामेंटल राइट्स का कहीं जस्टिफिकेशन है। लेकिन सवाल है कि फंडामेंटल राइट्स के जस्टिफिकेशन करते करते आप कितने कानून को एबोलिश करेंगे, कितनी चीजों को आप तोड़ेंगे, कितनी हमारी जो मर्यादा है उसका मर्दन करेंगे, कितनी चीजों को आप इस देश में खत्म करेंगे, एक बार सोचना पड़ेगा आपको।
Sir, we'll have to wrap up this discussion. We're completely out of time. We've gone over time on this discussion. I understand that this needs a threadbare discussion, and perhaps the Parliament is the best place to do so. So let the Parliament at least start discussing this issue rather than the petitioners having to go to the judiciary. Many thanks to all our panelists for joining us here on the discussion. We're taking a very quick break. News and updates will continue. Stay with us.